So you've got that tied off.
It's all tied off. The moss
Okay.
is done.
Good.
Now, what's our next step?
Yeah. So what I like to do with these is I like to have this part of the frame, so the moss part of the frame, I actually like that to be against the door or the wall.
Oh, how come?
Partly so that it protects my customers' doors from getting scratched.
Okay.
Because this side, you can see this side has a lot of wire going on, so I don't want to scratch their door. So it's partly just to protect it. It's also just for an aesthetic, so they're not looking at the ugly backside of a wreath.
If they have a glass door or something. Okay.
Yeah.
Very
so
neat.
This is just an extra step that I take with the mossing. It's partly just for having a beautiful finished product. So it's almost just like a florist habit per se, but it's part of with floristry of hiding your work, making sure that it's always beautiful, even from maybe the part that's not meant to be viewed, that it's still a beautiful thing and that it's finished off nicely. So I tend to go the extra mile for things like that. The other thing is that we talked about earlier, your lovely words, concave and convex.
So, thank you. I'm full of lovely words.
So that's the other reason why I like to flip it over, because the frame this way has a rounded shape already to it, which will just aid us as we're placing our material on. It'll help us to get a more fuller, rounder shape.
Oh, really? Okay.
And it's going to lift our frame off the door more than if we do it this way, because then they'll be pressing your material in. So this way it's actually going to hold it more off
and then it'll give it some more depth and dimension.
Yeah. Nice. So those are why. The other thing is little tricks
these florists have.
Well, you sort of also sometimes just learn by mistakes. The other thing is mechanically having it backwards, because this is actually backwards for the wreath frame. Having it this way gives us a more strength with our tying. Because what we're doing today is we're going to be tying, basically it's called a wrapped wreath technique. So we're going to be tying stems onto our frame and tying on. So this is going to give us more strength to that, and so that we're not going to have stems falling out. Yeah. So
awesome.
All those well thought out reasons. I think about things a lot.
There you go.
I'm always looking to make things better.
So what do I do? What's my step?
Yeah. So remember how you tied the wire on for the boss? So
same thing here.
We're going to do that again, and I like to be coming from the inside out. So we're
how come?
Tie it on the
Why
inside.
Do you do the inside out?
Just quicker, and it's a more natural movement.
Okay, because you're right-handed?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but it's just quicker than going. It's a better movement. You'll see where you're placing your hands than if you're going from the outside in. You can go from the outside in too, but I just prefer this.
Okay. And tied on, nice and tight.
We'll see how that is for you.
There we go.
Good. Okay, so making a wrapped wreath is different from making wreaths where you're sticking stems into the sides and you're kind of sticking things in everywhere. A wrapped wreath is kind of a nice way to make a wreath, because what you're really doing is just taking little bundles and just tying them on. So it can be
just a series of bundles.
Yeah, and every time you tie one on, every time you tie the next one, you're going to kind of cover where you had tied the first one.
Kind of overlapping, like a roof shingle or something.
Overlaps, and the function for that too is you're going to hide your wire. You're going to hide your mechanic every time.
Okay.
So it's kind of a nice way to make a wreath. It's a quicker way sometimes to make one. So that's the technique we're going to use for this one.
Sophisticated.
There's lots of different ways to make a wreath.
Let's do it. So what do I do? Just grab some greenery and start?
So
is there a method?
I've arranged the table for you to hopefully make this easier for you.
Okay.
Because of the look of the wreath we're going for today, we're going for a very textural, very full wreath with just lots of different visual, and we want it to be smoothly blended up as well. That means we don't want to have chunks of one thing and then chunks of another. We want it to we want our eye to come in and just enjoy this beauty and be able to travel through this wreath with beautiful rhythm that it has.
Ooh, sounds very poetic. I like this here.
So to make that easier, I've arranged the greenery for you.
Okay.
There is a huge amount of variation. We're using.
I can see that.
Here. Yeah,
some
so
blue here.
Yeah, I think it's like let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 main foliage types, plus some little accessory bits as well.
Some fun stuff on the side here.
Yeah,
awesome.
So that is going to help us get so much interest and so much texture and beauty in this wreath.
Variety.
But it does make it harder. Like it does make it harder to make the wreath.
Especially for a newbie like me.
Especially for a newbie. So
but I'm up for the challenge.
You're in for a big challenge today. So what I've done is I've arranged the table. I think the best way for you to go about this is you're going to break these foliages down into 2 separate groups.
Okay.
So we're going to do the boxwood juniper. We've got some blue spruce. This is, I like it. Because it looks a bit like a boxwood texture. This is California lilac. It's a much darker green. We've got some salal. We've got this type of cedar that's a little bit more fluffy. I like this because it helps me to
That's the hedge cedar you see, right?
Yeah, that's the hedge type cedar.
Okay.
It's kind of, it'll give us a more blunter look and a fluffier look than using like a Western red. So we're going to use that today. Also helps to just bulk your wreath up more quickly. And we've got some lovely pine here.
Okay.
And some English ivy.
Nice.
And we've actually got some tucked in here too. We've got a little bit of laurel as well for some interest as well. So we're gonna go with the boxwood and the juniper, I think, and the blue spruce. You see how contrasting?
Yes, very much so. From your yellows to your blue.
You got kind of your yellow core hue in these 2, the boxwood and the juniper, and then you've got a really blue color in your spruce. We're going to combine those when we're making it. It'll just help to give us that contrast.
And then my other one, I'm using this group.
I think what we should do, because I think I need to change what I'm seeing here. I've had this here, but do you see how this California lilac is a lot like the boxwood?
Yes, very similar shaped leaf.
So I don't think we want to combine those.
Okay.
So I think we should move that, and if you want to pick something else out from here, we'll just swap them around.
Yeah. Okay, here's your lilac, another lilac. So what if we
maybe this
add the salal?
So then we're gonna get a really nice contrast.
Kind of that broad leaf looking. Okay.
I'm talking a lot about the ingredients because the ingredients are going to ultimately make the wreath, even though I know you're just dying to get started.
I know, but it is the challenging part, and it's going to be. I'm probably going to make it a lot easier than some of you trying this for your first time, because I have Marie beside me, and she's prepped the table. She's not only prepped the length of most of these plants going in, but also kind of chosen which ones to go in, which takes a bit of time and practice. I've been around this a little bit for a few years now with different types of wreath, but you'll get a feel for it after a while when you start doing it and you step back and you look at your wreath. Right, is this correct?
Yeah, you get a feel for it. A lot of this is just training your hand. I've been making bouquets in hand. Like, I've made hundreds of bouquets in my life. This is a very similar movement in terms of production based, and I come out of a production based background with flowers. So even how I set up tables, my instinct, even now I'm seeing it and I'm realizing my instinct is still to make this simplified enough to be able to just crank these off and be quick about it. So you're right about, and I wanted to mention that too, because you're right about that I've cut things down to length 30. That's a really good point. So I've actually gone in and I've already cut materials down to maybe 6 to maybe like 10 inches or maybe 8 inches or so, give and take, just to be able to have an organized table and have everything kind of ready to go. So that bit of prep work saves a lot of time now as we're making. It also makes it a lot less chaotic in your mind.
Well,
so our second combo, because that's going to be our first combo, it's going to be the salal, the blue spruce, and the juniper.
Combo 1? Yeah.
Combo 1. Combo 2
Combo number 2.
The ivy, the pine, the cedar, and the California lilac.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to do, and the reason why we're doing combos, is what we're actually going to do with wrapped technique is we're going to be making little bouquets and just laying them down on here and tying them on. Okay. So if you want to start.
Let's start. I'm going to start with combo number 1, because then I can go work left to right. And let's try this.
So you were kind of raring to go on that one, okay? I think I was talking too much for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just a production person.
Well, the next one we really get to get into the making, which is nice.
Mm.
But I just found with all the material we had and so much good information that was being shared, I didn't want to edit out all that good design info just to make a nice short snappy video in this case.
Yeah.
Because then we lose so much of the learning. So I think this worked out well.
Mm-hmm.
And if you missed the first part is all about selecting the wreath frame and mossing the frame. So go and check that out if you missed that. And yeah, with foliage, it's kind of important to think about that before you get started and to think about like what you want your wreath to look like. So there is a lot that goes into sort of prepping and planning
The
the
prep
wreath.
work is a huge part of it. So
yeah.
if you prep well, and I had Marie helping me, it made it fairly easy to make the wreath.
Yeah.
Where if you don't prep, it's going to be a lot more kind of figuring things out and doing that. The other thing, it was probably another reason seemed like I was go and clapping my hands. Okay.
Trying to rush me.
I was cold. It was really cold that night, and we were working in the barn in the evening, and feed the kids dinner and doing all these shots. So it was
yeah, it ended up kind of taking longer than we expected,
Mm.
and then we were just trying to fit the filming in where we could. It kind of got a little painful.
Yeah,
and it was supposed to be a kind of a fun thing.
Yeah.
Got to be a little bit.
It was fun,
less
but
fun.
near the end, we kind of just wanted to get it done, and we were
Yeah.
freezing our butts off and filming at night and tired.
Yeah.
Parents and life.
Yeah.
So, but it was fun. It was fun.
It was fun, and hopefully us talking about the different kinds of foliages and kind of the decisions being made gave a little insight into what we're looking at for texture and for color and for contrast between those two things. So hopefully that was insightful. And the fun thing is the next video now is all about the making and putting the finishing touches, which are really what add the sparkle and really make my wreaths more unique. So I'm excited for you to see exactly how I put them together through Steve's hands, because he's going to be making them. So,
and the last video you'll get to see the final product, which I think was amazing. It turned out way better than I ever thought I could have made it with Marie's help.
Yeah, you did great.
But it looks awesome. So you get to see that, and hopefully you can make one similar.
Yeah. It's nice to have the tools to see how things are put together, because once you have the tools and you have the basic skills, then you get really creative, and it really gives you the opportunity to put your own touch in things. But we can't really do that until we have some fundamentals in place.
Yeah.
So,
and it's going to open your eyes to, I go for lots of walks, to all this foliage you see and everything I'm seeing. I'm scouting out new foliage. Oh, I can use that. And so
you told me, you're like, well, now I'm seeing trees the way you see them, through your eyes. So speaking of my eyes, it's kind of neat that just me showing you how I'm putting things together actually caused you to sort of see things differently. Yeah, that's really neat to hear. Part 3 will be up soon. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss that one. And if you missed the part 1, which is selecting a frame and sort of preparing that frame with moss, definitely go check that one out, because that one's super helpful as well. So yeah. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you.
And see you next time.
Yeah.